If you know old school Vegas, you know the name Sahara. It wasn't just another casino. It was a piece of history, an icon of the classic Las Vegas. First opening its doors on October 7, 1952, it was a height of glamour, a place where the Beatles and the Rat Pack made their mark. It watched the city rise and fall around it for decades. But legacy doesn't pay the bills. After years of struggling, the Sahara didn't close in 2011 for a remodel. It closed from financial collapse. It sat dormant for a short time before a failed rebirth as the SLS Las Vegas. Now it's the Sahara once again. The new owner, Alex Marullo, poured hundreds of millions of dollars into a massive overhaul, promising a return to its former glory. But here we are in 2026, and troubling signs are emerging. Whispers from employees, disappointing stories from visitors. It feels like history is repeating itself. The question now isn't whether the Sahara can be what it once was. The real question is this $100 million overhaul a genuine revival, or just the last dose of painkillers before a foregone death? And finally, attempt number 1, the Sahara's biggest weapon, a direct assault on the one thing Vegas tourists hate most. The Sahara is one of the very few resorts on the Strip to offer completely free parking. In a city where parking and resort fees have become a reviled reality, this is a massive competitive advantage. But the harsh reality of business is that there's no such thing as a free lunch. A visitor from Los Angeles, who frequently drives to Vegas, admitted, "I picked the Sahara specifically for the free parking. It saves me almost $30 a day. But would I come back? I'm not sure. The service inside made me feel like I paid for that savings and frustration." This gamble depends entirely on that massive influx of guests spending heavily in the casino and restaurants. If the economy slows down or if the competition becomes too fierce, this ultimate weapon becomes a deadly liability, forcing them to make cuts elsewhere, and we've already seen where those cuts are being made. The second effort was to lean on its supposedly most stable financial pillar, its convention space. With over 95,000 square feet of event space, the Sahara expected this to be a reliable income stream, less volatile than typical tourism. However, the reality is that the convention market is still shaky. A Chicago-based event planner said, "We looked at the Sahara for our conference. The space is nice, but many of our members are still hesitant about travel. With tight budgets, a virtual meeting is still a safer bet. If this stable revenue stream doesn't recover as strongly as they hope, the Sahara will face difficult choices. Either take the loss or cut services, an act that would trigger the very downward spiral we're already seeing signs of. So, even the safest revenue source is wobbling badly. When neither leisure tourists nor convention guests are a sure thing, you're forced to do something drastic, even desperate. The third effort relied on a gamble on location. For years, the north end of the Strip was a dead zone, leaving the Sahara isolated. But with the arrival of the multi-billion-dollar resorts world and the revival of the Fontainebleau, after nearly 2 decades of stalled construction, everything changed. The Sahara's location suddenly became strategic, an oasis situated between new destinations. The reality is that this is both a blessing and a mortal threat. A casino market analyst who has followed the Strip for 3 decades put it bluntly, the Sahara isn't a fight it can't win on muscle alone. It's a small boat caught between 2 battleships. If Fontainebleau or Resorts World start a price war, Sahara will be the first casualty. That oasis could quickly run dry as its larger rivals suck all the life out of it. What was once seen as a saving grace could now be a death sentence. Squeezed between 2 giants, the Sahara is being drained of its lifeblood. To survive this fight, they need an unshakable, stable source of income. That leads us to what they believed was their financial pillar. The Sahara set out to build an appealing restaurant portfolio aimed at delivering value for the money. There's no denying the Sahara has some great options. Jose Andres' Bazaar Meat is consistently praised as one of the best steakhouses in the city. They also brought in new restaurants to attract diners. But once again, the weakest link was the service. A former server revealed anonymously, "We were pressured to be fast. There was no time to build a connection. Management only cared about turning tables. And customers feel it." One diner, who had booked a table at a high-end restaurant for a birthday celebration, wrote, "The food was great, but our server seemed like he wanted us gone as soon as possible. They dropped the check on the table before we could even order coffee. It ruined a special evening. A 5-star restaurant with 1-star service is just a 1-star experience. The cracks from within were growing larger. But those internal problems are nothing compared to the multi-billion-dollar storm brewing right outside their doors. The fifth effort was a physical revolution. Hundreds of millions were spent redesigning the casino to be brighter and more open, completely shedding the dark, clubby feel of the SLS. The hotel rooms were upgraded, and a brand new entryway was built. The goal was to create a space that gave guests a wow factor from the moment they walked in. However, the disrespect was found in the private experiences. Take the story of a family of 4 from Texas. They paid extra for a room in the Blanca Tower, expecting luxury. The room was ridiculously small, the father said. Every time my wife opened the closet door, I had to press myself into the corner. My kids joked that we were playing real-life Tetris just to get to the bathroom. Another video review showed a bizarre bathroom design where you had to walk to the closet to get to the shower, with the toilet hidden behind a mirror. The vlogger commented wryly, "They spent millions on the lobby, but turned my bathroom into an escape room puzzle." The luxury is a thin veneer. When the glamour of the lobby is contradicted by the awkwardness of your own room, it signals a major problem with priorities. But if a badly designed bathroom door can annoy you, a disastrous dining experience can ruin an entire evening. Could food be the saving grace? That was attempt number 4. The 6th attempt was to position Sahara as a boutique hotel, compact, intimate, and less overwhelming than the mega resorts. The casino floor is only about 60,000 square feet, creating a more intimate feel. The new entrance connecting directly to the monorail station is a huge plus for convenience. The idea is that you can enjoy Vegas without having to walk for miles just to get from your room to the lobby. But in reality, convenient quickly became crippled by understaffing. A visitor from Vancouver, we'll call her Sarah, shared her experience. "I came in on a red-eye flight, tired, and just wanted to get to my room," she recalled. "But I had to stand in line for over an hour. There were only 2 clerks working, and they looked more exhausted than the customers." It's a classic domino effect. The boutique model requires swift service, but understaffing on the front line shatters that promise, turning advertised convenience into a check-in nightmare. The promise of convenience quickly became a trap of frustration. But if you think waiting in line is bad, wait until you see what they did to your private space. The 7th and perhaps cleverest revival attempt was psychological, bringing back the Sahara name. After the disaster that was the SLS, a trendy resort that failed because it didn't understand its place. Billionaire Alex Murillo, upon acquiring it in 2018, bet on the way to history. The goal was clear: tap into a 70-year legacy, creating an emotional connection to make older guests feel like they were coming home. Throughout the hallways, black and white photos of legends like Elvis, the Beatles, and Frank Sinatra are displayed like a museum of memories. But this is a double-edged sword. One bartender, who has worked on the Strip for over 20 years, shook his head and shared, "We're not encouraged to chat here. It's just pour the drink, take the money, and move to the next person. The soul of old Vegas isn't in this place." That sentiment was echoed by a couple from Ohio, visiting in March 2026 for their anniversary. They complained that the staff at an Italian restaurant seemed standoffish and kept them waiting for no reason. Even worse, when they tried to call room service because their phone wasn't working, no one answered. The nostalgic veneer might be appealing, but the soul of service inside seems to be malfunctioning. Legacy is an asset, but it can't cover for poor service. If the Sahara is failing on the emotional front, are its physical promises any better? That brings us to attempt number 6, a gamble on convenience. So, to return to the original question, can a renovation truly save Sahara? The answer, in early 2026, is a cautious yes, but yes, the renovation successfully pulled the Sahara from its grave. It created an attractive-looking place with a smart value proposition in free parking. But that victory is being eroded by a far more fundamental and dangerous problem, a failure in day-to-day operations. The stories of long check-in lines, colliding closet doors, and overworked employees aren't isolated issues. They are symptoms of a deeper disease in management, training, and culture. A hotel is not just its walls. It is a service machine, and the Sahara's machine is sputtering. The Sahara is walking a razor's edge. On one hand, they have an iconic brand, a strategic location, and a unique competitive advantage. On the other, they face gargantuan rivals, a volatile market, and internal weaknesses that are killing customer trust. The major surgery gave the patient a new heart, but its circulatory system is being clogged by its own operational failures. A new coat of paint might get people in the door once, but only excellent service will keep them coming back. Alex Marullo's gamble isn't over yet, but the clock is ticking. We want to hear from you. Have you stayed at the Sahara since the renovation? What was your experience? Share your stories in the comments below. If the Sahara can't fix its core service issues and fix them fast, history won't just repeat itself. It'll come to bury this legend for good.